Inspired by other creators, I first decided to try out carry-on only travel when I did an 8-week trip to Europe, thinking if I can manage this, I'll be able to do it for any future trip. And not only did I manage, I absolutely loved it. I loved not having to wait for my big suitcase to come out at baggage claim. I love saving money on flights. I love just having less stuff to keep track of, particularly when you're moving around a lot. You've got enough other things to take up your mental bandwidth while you're traveling. It's nice just to not worry about stuff so much. And of course, I loved how much easier it was to get around with a smaller suitcase compared to a large suitcase. Particularly going upstairs at train stations, going over cobblestones, throwing your suitcase in the back of a taxi, putting your suitcase in the overhead on a train. I probably sound very passionate about this, and I am. It just makes traveling so much nicer. I was convinced. And a lot of my friends who I was traveling with said that they were inspired to pack lighter for future trips because of just how much easier they saw it was for me. If you want to hear more about that, I made a whole video about my experience, which I will link below. But this video is about Thailand. So let's get back to Thailand. So in this video, I'm going to go over exactly what I brought, what I wish I'd brought but didn't, and what I didn't need to bring. Realistically, after 8 weeks in Europe, this one should be a cinch, but also, to be fair, whether I'm going away for a week or a couple of months, my packing won't actually change that much. I just need access to a washing machine. So back to me, 1 year younger, when I first started putting this video together. So first up, the trip. So we're going to Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, and Pai. We were recommended Northern Thailand as we only have about a week's worth of leave to play with, so we just wanted to do a quick little overseas getaway, and from Australia, it's pretty easy to get there. Before traveling, make sure you check out the weather forecast. We're going in November, and it looks like it's gonna be bloody warm and humid. Whew. It's really not that bad in the shade, but yeah, you just sweat. Which actually makes this easier as I'll mainly be able to pack lighter summer clothes, which take up less space and of course, don't weigh as much. I'm traveling with my friends who I hiked through Albania with last year, and the idea with this trip is that we want it to be part relaxing by the pool and part going on adventures, including some light hiking. And it turns out, after seeing how well my carry-on experience went last time, they've decided to give it a go. We're leaving at midnight on day 1 and also taking an overnight flight on day 8, so trying to maximize our time away. Just like the Euro trip, the actual luggage that I'm taking with me is my Herschel Pop Quiz backpack and my Antler Viva suitcase, which is the maximum dimensions that you can fit in the overhead storage locker on the plane. I always bring my backpack with me as my personal item on the flight. Some people seem surprised by this, but I've been doing it for years and I've never had any issues. It can fit under the seat in front of me. That being said, I can't guarantee that all airlines are going to be the same or that you're going to have a similar experience. As a general tip, something that makes packing loads easier for me is to have a checklist. I reuse the same checklist which I have saved on my phone, but then also leading up to a trip, if I think of anything specific for that particular holiday, I can add it to the list as I go. Quick note, although I am traveling with a carry-on size suitcase, for this particular trip I am going to check it in anyway, and that's because my ticket comes with the check-in allowance, so it's not like I'm gonna have to pay any extra, and my friends want to check in theirs, so we're gonna be waiting at baggage claim anyway, and this means that I don't have to worry about keeping my liquids under 100 mils, so I can bring a large sunscreen, which I'll need. But if you're doing actual carry-on only, make sure that you check out the limits set by your airline because different airlines will have different limitations. Alright, let's pack. Starting with clothes. So including what I'm wearing on the plane, I will be taking 9 pairs of undies and socks, 1 for each day plus an extra. I always pack an emergency set in my backpack just in case my suitcase goes missing or if something horrific happens to happen with the aeroplane food. 5 t-shirts. This might seem like a lot, but I learned from the summer Euro trip that it's better to have an extra than not have enough, especially when you're getting sweaty. The white one's just from Kmart and the other 4 are from AS Color. I'm focusing on clothes that are light and breathable because of the humidity. I'll also take this tank, also from AS Color, plus another tank and shorts for the gym and hiking, these lemon cotton blend shorts from Common Need. I've got these in black and in green. I don't know a lot about fashion, but I feel like the linen look is a good middle ground. It's casual, but it's not too casual, and they're still comfy. I wear these a lot, possibly too much. Plus these linen pants, again from AS Color, because I feel like I should have 1 pair of long pants, but again, it's gonna be really warm and humid, so these seem like a good option. This North Face wind and waterproof jacket, because although the forecast is hot, it's also wet. This grey jumper. As much as I love a hoodie, I'm probably not even gonna need a jumper in Thailand. The absolute lowest it should get to is 16 degrees, but most of the time it's gonna be at least 20. These purple quick dry speedo shorts for the pool, pajama shorts, and a singlet, which I will sleep in, but it can also be used as another top if needed. As you can tell, I like to keep things pretty simple, mainly block color tees. I don't have the perfect capsule wardrobe yet, not by a long shot. Overall, comfort and practicality are much more important to me, but you might have more variation in your fashion sense than I do, which wouldn't be hard. Footwear. I'll be bringing my Birks, as we'll be spending a lot of time by the pool. Apparently you're not supposed to get them wet, but whatever. I'm also not at all opposed to some Birken socks. It's probably my German side showing. I don't know if this bag's actually made for shoes, but that's what I'm using it for. And the other shoes I'm going to bring are these Nike trail running shoes. As we're not going to be away for very long, I won't bother about a pair of casual shoes, so I'm hoping that these trail running shoes are a good middle ground between runners and hiking boots. Comfortable for long days of walking, but also enough support and grip for hiking, but without the weight of a hiking boot. Hopefully they are, because I made some mistakes with my shoe choice in Europe. The one feature that I do miss from having hiking boots is them being waterproof. Bring shoes with good grip, because otherwise you might perish. When I was doing my final pack, I realized that these shorts actually have a hole in the crotch, so last minute I had to swap them out for another pair of sport shorts. So all in, I've got 5 tees, 1 tank, 2 pairs of shorts, 1 pair of pants, 1 jumper, 1 jacket, 1 set of pajamas, 1 pair of swimming shorts, 1 set of workout gear, 2 kinds of footwear, plus my hat and sunglasses. I use these 2 packing cubes to pack on one side of the suitcase and then pack some things around them if I need to. The other side isn't as flat because of the space required for the retractable handle, so it works better to roll up the bigger items and pack them on this side anyway. Now I used to always think, oh, I'd better pack this thing just in case, and I'd have about 50 things that I would think just in case for. But if you're away and you think, damn, I really could have used that other pair of casual shoes, you'll deal with it. You just wear the shoes that you have. My runners are still wet. So it's Birken socks for dinner. It's so much better than packing a bunch of extra stuff you don't need and you'll end up just lugging around for the sake of just in case. You probably heard the tip, wear your bulkiest shoes on the plane and clothes in general, unless it's not comfortable for a long flight. But also, life's too short for uncomfortable shoes. So on the plane, I'm gonna be wearing this gray t-shirt, my Nike shoes, Gymshark shorts, the grey jumper, and of course, a pair of undies and socks. For long haul flights, comfort is key and these are all really comfortable. Except for the clothes on the plane and the emergency undies and socks in the backpack, the rest is going in the suitcase. When it comes to folding, I either do the classic minimalist KonMari method, or I do the classic travel roll. And I love a packing cube. I first tried them in Europe and I have not looked back. They really help to keep everything organized. And if you want to unpack at your destination, you can just pull the whole cube out of your suitcase and pop it into a drawer or a wardrobe. Plus, when you're using the KonMari fold, you can see everything lined up neatly. Toiletries. If you're traveling with check-in only, you'll need to make sure that your liquids don't exceed the limits. And they'll probably need to be in a clear case/bag. It's a good idea to take into account what's included with your accommodation. Depending on where you're staying, you might have some things provided for you like shampoo, conditioner, and soap. So if you're not too picky about those, they can save a lot of space in your bags. In my case, I'll be staying in hotels which provide towels for the pool, but I'm sticking with my own shampoo and conditioner because my hair is picky, and I also have to bring my own face and body wash because, lucky me, my skin is also incredibly sensitive. I don't want to take my big bottles, so I'll be using these little travel bottles instead. So I'll be bringing moisturizer. I use this CeraVe combo, night as well as day with SPF 15+, which is essentially useless, so I'll also be bringing this La Roche Invisible Fluid. This stuff feels great on your face, but it's still SPF 50+, which is what you need. But it is about 30 Australian dollars for this little thing, so I will also bring some regular SPF 50 sunscreen for my body that's a bit more cost effective. I'm not made of money, but I have since learned that this much larger bottle has about 4 times as much sunscreen in it and is only slightly more expensive than this little bottle, so worth checking out. My electric toothbrush in its travel case. The charge on this lasts for a little bit over a week, so it is perfect, as well as my travel toothpaste. You've probably heard this tip before too, but this is a great time to use up those little sample toothpaste that you get from the dentist. On the recommendation of my doctor, I'll also be packing Panadol, antihistamines, electrolyte drink in case of Bangkok belly, and insect repellent. And to be safe, band-aids, ibuprofen, anti-diarrhea in case of Bangkok belly. This next 12 hours of travel is not off to the best start. Something's not agreeing with me. Travel sickness tablets, as the bus trips are apparently rough. Travel tissues, nasal spray, hand sanitizer, medication. I pack some in my suitcase and some in my backpack just in case one goes missing. And last but not least,
paw ointment. I put my liquids in a Snap-Lock bag and then put that in this toiletry bag, and then just to be extra safe, I wrap it in my waterproof jacket, just in case the liquids explode, which sometimes they like to do, as well as protein bars, my gym towel, hat, and GoPro handle. The backpack. Besides the stuff that I've already mentioned, this is what's going in the backpack. All my tech's going in here, so I've got my Bellroy tech kit. This thing is so satisfying. I didn't have it on my last trip, but I absolutely love it. And in this, I've got my GoPro plus extra battery, my Snap universal charger, a USB-C cable, and this convenient little travel tripod. My backpack will also have a face mask in case of any coughing people in tight spaces. Note from the future, I really should have used this on the flight back because there were a bunch of kids coughing on the flight and I ended up getting COVID. I'll also be packing my AirPods, a travel essential for me. Now that I've had it, I would absolutely struggle without noise cancellation. Some snacks in case the plane food is terrible, my sunglasses, my Camelback leak-proof water bottle, which I'll need to empty before going through security, my iPad with Magic Keyboard and preloaded with entertainment, and a vom bag. This probably doesn't need to be explained. And of course, I'll have my passport, wallet, and phone on me. If you've got a regular scale at home or one of those hand weighing scales, it's definitely worth checking your baggage before heading to the airport because you do not want one of those last minute excess baggage fees.
Minimalism tip: share your travel supplies with your family members and/or friends.
I'm borrowing these travel bottles from my parents, and I loaned them my packing cubes when they went away, and my brother borrowed my Snap charger for his trip to Thailand. Most of the time, we're not traveling, and these things are just sitting there waiting to be used, so we may as well be sharing them. So I'm back from Thailand. I got back yesterday morning at 7 a.m. and I'm pleased to say nothing but great. All thumbs up, nothing to complain about. And it was actually very handy that we'd all packed light because we were using Grab to get around a lot. And some of the cars were really quite small and the boot space literally wouldn't have fit one large case, let alone 3. And even then, a couple times we only put 2 in the boot and had to keep the 3rd one on the back seat. Thank God. We packed light. And then just in general, getting around with our cases was so much easier. I know I said this before, but it's so good. In a lot of the places that we traveled, it was really useful because there wasn't a consistent footpath. By which I mean, a lot of the time there was a tree growing in the middle of it and you had to go on the road to go around it. There were holes in the middle of it, there was cracked pavement, there's wires running across it, and a lot of the time we had to walk on the road, which of course meant that we were also sharing it with motorbikes and cars. So it's not the easiest place to get around, particularly with a big suitcase, so it was so much easier for us having our little cases that we could just pick up and walk around places with relative ease. I think my friends are already converted because they were talking about upping our game next time and bringing even smaller cases. But I do have a few things to note. So firstly, there were really only 1 or 2 things that I didn't pack but would have been good to have. In Thailand, there are a range of different temples that you can visit in all different shapes and sizes. Some of them are really interesting, some of them are really old. But if you want to go to any of them, you need to make sure that you are dressed appropriately. Please respect this place with appropriate clothing. And what this essentially means is you need to make sure that your shoulders and your knees are covered and pretty much everything in between as well, like no midriffs. I didn't think about this before I went, and of course none of the shorts that I own cover my knees, and the lightest, coolest pair of pants that I own are the linen pants that I brought with me, but it was so humid that it was too hot to wear even those. So I ended up buying a pair of these classic Thai pants. I know, such a tourist, but they ended up being perfect. They're very light, they're very breathable, and they stay cool. Do you want some clothes? This place, just up the road from the Black House. We all bought some stuff. It was like my pants were like $4, your dress was 8 or something, and yours was 6. So yeah, nice. We need them for the temples. But aside from not having appropriately long enough shorts / cool enough pants, the one other thing that I would pack next time would be some plastic bags or some sort of waterproof bags, because we were caught in the rain multiple times and needed plastic bags in order to not get everything else in our cases wet. But it's not like you have to bring one of these from home. You can also just get a bag when you do a shop at 7-Eleven. But of course, it's good to reuse stuff when you can. And finally, in terms of what I did pack but did not need, I didn't end up using the linen pants until the night before we flew home. We were going out to dinner at a nice restaurant, which by the way was incredible. Check it out if you're going to Chiang Mai. The green curry spaghetti was mind-blowing. Anyway, and it was finally cool enough that I could actually wear them. But to be fair, if I didn't have them, I would have just worn shorts and I would have been absolutely fine. Similarly, the only time that I actually wore the jumper was in Melbourne on my way to the plane. and then in Melbourne again once I got off the plane. I didn't actually use it at all in Thailand. But I guess this is a difficult one. Even if you almost definitely won't need a jumper, it's probably a legitimate just in case item to take with you, especially if you're only taking one. The other thing was, we all ended up bringing electrolyte tablets, sunscreen, and mosquito repellent. We really could have coordinated and just had one between us to save space because we ended up sharing anyway. So aside from those very minor things, I would call it a success. Essentially, if I swapped my linen pants out for some pants that I could wear to temples, would have pretty much been perfect. If you found this video helpful and want to click on that thumb so the almighty algorithm might see fit to bless me with some views, that'd be great. And I'll see you in the next one.